Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to go over some more nuanced topics. Something I've noticed in the Discord and I've noticed for a long time in the league community is that they do not enjoy being criticized for their criticism. So let's think about that for a second. Criticized for criticism. Honestly, that could be spelled wrong. It's entirely possible. Point still remains. I respond to most comments on my content because I feel like, if there's criticism to be had, it's more often than not fair. It's more often than not, spelled out in a solid fashion and an understandable fashion. Now, this isn't about me, though. This is more about the criticism I see towards players, how we talk about players, how we argue comparing players, and things of that nature. Many people believe that their opinion is, valid, but also that this comes up. I think X, therefore it is. Now, we may not see people spell it out just like that, but that's how I view it. That's how I quote it. I think, therefore it is. Somebody may say, I think this. Okay. Everybody thinks something. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, whether they're good or bad, smell or not. So, just because you have one, okay, well, we're all allowed to have an opinion. A lot of people feel like, I get argumentative in the Discord. You hit me at the wrong time. More often than not, I'll see somebody's take on the Discord. I may not even be in there necessarily, but messaging, partaking in the conversation. But I will look at the stats and things and be like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if this is backed by anything. And when it's not, I will, kind of make a response to that individual or individuals who do make out of pocket claims, and they feel, oftentimes they get kind of upset with the thought, well, you don't enjoy other people's opinions. You don't take kindly to other people's opinions. You're not open to other people's opinions. I think everybody's opinion, you're allowed to say what you want to say. Just hold yourself, you have something to back up an opinion, right? Is there anything based on that? I think therefore it is. Why? Because you saw it, your eye test. And this is not specifically at, certain individuals. I think we've seen this. I see this all the time. You see it in pro sports as well. The eye test versus the analytical crowd. I believe that there's a hybrid in both. With the eye test, you see things, and with analytics, you can see things that eye test cannot. Bias, it ignores bias. And I always talk about bias. Bias affects the eye test. Bias will affect opinions of players in general. And oftentimes, I feel like that affects the eye test. But if you have numbers to back up your claim, then who's to argue with that? And a lot of people so I want to write that down. Numbers plus eye test. Or better yet, opinion. As far as I'm concerned, the eye test is an opinion. It's not a fact. Because oftentimes people say, well, by the eye test, by my opinion, this. Or my opinion, that. Well, who are you? And then you may say, well, who are you to say who am I? And I say, I'm nobody. I don't make the real big claims about eye test because who am I to say this or that? When I make a claim and I think, oh, this player's kind of good, they seem to be doing well, what do the numbers say? Do the numbers check out with my opinion? And then I will say, okay, my opinion can be backed up. But if you can't make an argument because the numbers don't back it up, well, then you've got to come with something. You can't just say, oh, well, you're challenging my opinion. I don't like that. Well, tough shit. You don't like it. Don't say stupid shit that doesn't make sense. If you got to have something to back it up. You know, a lot of people, they get upset because they say things and they don't have something to back it up. And, you know, you see it with the thought of these two phrases come to mind. Choking and fraud. Okay, and this is not specifically about the fella yesterday. This has happened multiple times. I've talked about it in the Discord for months. To choke, to me, is a very, very big claim. This is criticize for criticism. You don't like that. You don't like somebody coming at you for your criticism of a player. And then people say, yeah, well, in traditional sports, people criticize players all the time. Why can't I? You can, but have something to back it up. Don't just say, therefore I think therefore it is. No, have something, especially when you're being critical. You're criticizing somebody, you have to have something to back that up. If pushed on it, there needs to be something there. You know, oftentimes people just think they can say shit, and yet you can. I mean, like I said, you can. In my Discord, you can say pretty much whatever you want as long as you aren't, like, saying some out-of-pocket stupid, like, really stupid things. Like, I'm pretty lenient. And, you know, I want to foster a community that does take in all ideas and we talk about them. And you try and get critical and you educate each other because I could be wrong and you could be wrong. We both could be wrong. Somebody else that's reading may be right. And I'm all for fostering the bringing in of ideas and debating and things like that. I want to hear an opinion with something to back it up. It has to make sense. Trust me, bro, is not going to work for me. I don't do trust me, bro. You're not somebody to trust. I'm not somebody to trust in that way. You know, some people in the comment section, I think yesterday somebody said, you know, the players think this, so what do you say for being against the players? Well, I mean, players have the right. I think they can get away with this without this. More so than, like I said, who are you and who am I? Well, they are somebody. They've seen it. They know it. They've been around it. They know what happens behind the scenes. You don't know that. You may see something that the farm animals post on fucking Twitter, but does that really mean anything? No. We see, you know, that journalism is trash. Hot trash. You know, I think that there is a need for that content in this space, but more ethical content. And if it's not ethical to me, it's trash. But regardless, you know, you also ethical. I mean, you know, people. I've challenged some people on Discord in the past, and they're like, "Well, I should be allowed to do that." You know, I shouldn't have to hold myself to a standard. No, you don't. Really, you don't. But don't get upset when you are held to the standard that you hold yourself to. Don't get upset if you're shit on. Don't get upset if you are viewed as less when it comes to an opinion versus another person that has something to back it up, because you don't hold yourself to a standard that should be respected. And it's one of those things, like, people think that, you know, well, my opinion should be valid. It should be respected. Like I said, I look at opinions like assholes. I don't care. Say what you want. We can talk about it, you know. Some people say, yeah, well, it's not that deep, this and that. But if you're being critical of somebody, another human being, you need to have something to back it up. You can't just say, well, that person's a fraud. Why are they a fraud? Do you even know what that word means? Choking. This player chokes all the time. Do you even know what that word means? Or are you just saying things because it's the buzzword of the week? In which case, buzzword, like, that's another thing this community does that's just absolutely silly. You know, if you want to be critical of people, be valid about it. Have something to back it up. When challenged, be ready to defend your opinion. Too often, people think this, and it should be respected, and it should be just left there. And maybe it's me just being, you know, argumentative, debate bro, attack. But if I see something that doesn't make sense, I'm gonna say, yo, what does this mean? Why are you sure about that? Or I'll say my opinion to it. Is in like, and my opinions usually have something to back it up. Yesterday we had a debate about Zeka and Knight. Zeka and Cream. And I said I reached for straws when I said Zeka's 2-0 against Cream. And I admitted that. Because in the end, I look at them as equals, right? So we're arguing and some things get out of hand. And I'm the first to admit it in my content. I mean, that's the thing. Hold yourself to a standard. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. When you're wrong, say you're wrong. Say, oh, well, I didn't know it. And don't just kind of shrug it off like it doesn't matter. Use it to be better next time. And people say, I shouldn't have to hold myself to that standard. I shouldn't have to be accountable for my words. Okay, well, say whatever you want to say, but understand that you will be held to the standard that you hold yourself to. Hell, I may make a new role in the Discord, and I mean, people say, oh, well, your Discord, there's a couple hundred people in there, a few hundred people. Make a role that says, this person doesn't give a shit. And then people say, okay, when this person's talking, we know this person really just says things to say things, and they really don't know what they're talking about. And they're not trying to get better. And they don't want to understand the game. They don't make arguments that have some sort of semblance of reasonability. So, I think that a lot of people in the Discord do a great job, but there are some that get upset. They get defensive. And it's because they say things with this in mind. I think something, therefore it is. I don't have to back something up. I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't, no, just. And if you believe you should be just allowed to do it, well, fine. Just understand that you're going to be held to the standard you hold yourself to. And if that doesn't bother you, then I shouldn't even hear that it doesn't bother you. So often you see someone say, well, I don't care about that. Well, then you obviously did because you took the time to tell me you didn't. That must bother you. That's just a classic. So it's just something that's, I see it in the league community a lot. Just people being they don't like being criticized for criticism. But that's the only way you're going to get better. That's the only way I'm going to get better. It's the only way everybody gets better. In my opinion. And that's what this channel is about. There's stats and analytics and things and other ideas I wish I could have accomplished, and who knows. But I want a smarter community, and the only way to do that is eliminating a lot of this and having something to back it up. Something to back it up. If pushed, have receipts. I want to almost advocate for more debate in the Discord. More debate in the community where there is merit for the arguments. Not just argue for the sake of arguing, but have something to back it up. And there are some people that do a great job of that in the Discord, and I respect them tremendously, but I simply cannot respect somebody that does this and then kind of shrugs their shoulders and gets upset. That doesn't fly with me. Like I said, you're allowed to do what you want to do. Like I said, I'm very lenient in my Discord, but I just kind of think, why wouldn't you want to make yourself better? You don't think you have to? Fine, then you are what you are. And that is what it is. So this video is just kind of a spiel. I'm sure it's going to rub some people the wrong way because they like to just do this and not feel like they have to back things up. But it's just the way I look at things today. When you make a claim, you need to have some data behind it to make it, what is it, theory, the whole, how to make a hypothesis into a theory, whatever the hell we learn scientific method, that's how you do arguments. So, especially about, where numbers are applicable. It's just, there's a lot of my opinion in this, but like I said, you're allowed to have yours, I'm allowed to have mine, you're allowed to criticize my opinion of this whole deal, and I'm allowed to take that in, understand, okay, this is where this is coming from, and give some back if I want to. But that whole I'm going to ignore this. Oh, this person's giving me criticism. I'm going to ignore it. I don't like that they're doing this. Well, tough shit. That's how this works. If you do something and you don't have something to back it up, you're going to be criticized for it. Just like you think you can go criticize whoever you want to criticize in the league community, players, coaches, GM, etc. Have something to back it up. And then when someone brings up another point, you say, "Oh well, that's irrelevant." Is it irrelevant, or do you not even give it the time? Can you explain why it is? I shouldn't have to. Okay, well then, you're a real valuable person as well because you have chosen not to educate. So, just the way I look at it. Thank you for watching. I want to also thank David on Twitter, one of the top LCS content creators in my mind. Referenced me on Twitter, and another individual did. Oh, geez, this looks terrible because another individual did, and I do apologize that's escaping me. I will have it in my video tomorrow for sure. I will mention you as well. So, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.